Hey, it's SickBoy from the Gaminganarchist and welcome to the July edition of the Top 10 Gaming Related Dickheads. Now, for those of you who aren't aware of how this video goes, I'm going to be running down my personal Top 10 list of people or companies that were dicks over the last month. So it's between now and when I did my previous video. So, without any further ado, let's get the ball rolling. Ubisoft. Remember when you delayed Rayman Legends on the Wii U because you didn't think it was going to sell very well? So you stopped making the game an exclusive, you delayed it by about 6 months, and then you released it on all platforms. It's just come out, and you want to guess where it sold the most by a long, long way? That's right, the Wii U. The Wii U shifted more units in the first week than on any other platform. Well done. Not only that, but the Vita version turns out to not be the complete content as they claimed. It actually has the, I think it's 23 challenge missions and a few extra bits and bobs have been taken out of the game. So again, they advertised it was going to be the full experience, and it's bloody well not. Not a major deal, but that is a little thing I'm just going to throw in there. And the last thing I've got you in here at number 10 is because you've gone ahead with our Watch Dogs movie. For fuck's sake. Look, I know you had Prince of Persia, okay? And I know you made a shit film. Okay? I know it had the Mandarin and the bloke who got bummed by the Joker. I know that you have that all well and good, and that was a shitty bloody Disney film, to be honest. It was a waste of fucking time. But you did that, and now you think, right, you know you're making Assassin's Creed. Which, you know, let's face it, Assassin's Creed is pretty much a rip-off of Prince of Persia. The mechanics of the rebooted Prince of Persia, not the old 2D jumping thing. And then you've got Watch Dogs coming up, which is going to be your next-gen thing, which you've already admitted you're going to franchise the shit out of, and now you're going to put a movie in. Before the game's even out, you've commissioned a movie. Now, I understand that there is a big jumping the gun issue in Hollywood where they will buy the rights to stories long before they hit the market. That is why certain books are made into films before people even know the books exist. That is a thing. And sometimes they wait and they see if it's popular. Generally, that's why you should do it. That's when you should make a film based on a book. When the book actually sells well. Because basically, it's a marketing experience. You wouldn't have made... Warner Brothers would not have made the Harry Potter movies if the books had not got popular. Simple economics. Also, you know full well, Ubisoft, that you have got a very small niche audience when it comes to Hollywood cinema when you want to make a Watch Dogs movie. Really? You think that's going to be a big success? Okay. Feel free to name me the other big budget video game film that was a huge box office success. No, I can't think of one either. If there was one, feel free to comment and let me know. I can't think of a single video game license, purely video game license, that made a film that was any good. Certainly think that got critical acclaim. The best one I can think of, and it's ridiculous, and that's Doom, only because it has that little first-person scene in there. The first Resident Evil film was okay, but still not a great film. Super Mario Brothers, with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, and the weird Koopa monster things. Like, seriously, what are you doing? Don't make a fucking movie of a video game that you haven't even released yet. Just stop it. Jesus. Square-Enix. Will you please stop making me have a go at you? Please, okay? I had a go at you because you were making games with these ridiculous sales figures that you didn't realise you weren't going to make. Now, that is poor market positioning. You didn't know what you were doing when you invested in it. That is a shame. I know you're looking for things to sell as well as your games do in Japan, but your Japanese games are not gonna. You're not gonna get your games selling as well as say Final Fantasy does in Japan. Face it. Anyway, Final Fantasy XIV comes out after saying, "Oh God, control your expectations." What happens? They controlled them so far. Launched Final Fantasy XIV, didn't actually have enough servers, and people have been unable to get on the game. Oh, I don't want to rag on you, Square Enix, but you're going to have to go on the Dickheads list for just yet again positioning yourself in the market, not realising what your sales were going to be. You had a big advertising push. The game was on TV, with adverts on the TV in the UK. I don't know about everywhere else, but very rarely do you get video games with adverts. Normally it's massive, massive, massive titles. Halo tends to have it, and that's pretty much it over here. And we had a Final Fantasy XIV. Doesn't explain it's an MMO, doesn't do anything, just has a slightly CG touched up little trailer, and then that's it. Without anything what it is. Final Fantasy XIV. But we don't know what the hell it was. It sold very well. And by all accounts, it's a damn good MMO. It's just a goddamn shame that your fans in the West can't actually get onto the game. That's something you really need to sort out. Sort out how much you genuinely think you're going to sell. And when it comes to server space, don't limit it because you're... Oh, it's just painful. Stop. Please stop it. I don't want to keep doing this to you. However, the same can't be said for EA, because I love tearing a stripe off EA. EA. Now, you've basically done exactly what Square-Enix have done. But I'm going to put you up and set on the list because you've been off for a couple of months, because you've been very scared and really quite desperate to impress people. And I just want to say, you are dickheads, because you cannot even launch SimCity now in a fit state. You launched SimCity on Mac. What was it? Plagued with problems. Jesus, your worst launch in history. There has never been a game launched. Diablo 3 doesn't come close to the absolute shitstorm that was SimCity when it came out. You then patched it, and the patch was shit as well. And then you bring it out on Mac, and lo and behold, you haven't fixed the game. Dickheads. Oh, Capcom. I'm going to enjoy this one, Capcom. I really am. It's very rare I get to do a dickhead one and I get to celebrate something fantastic and slag someone off at the same time. This is amazing. Capcom, you are dickheads. You are dickheads because you haven't made a Mega Man game in so goddamn long. The only Mega Man games that have been fan-made Mega Man games, Mega Man appeared in Street Fighter Cross Tekken in that ridiculous Fat Man suit, and not to mention he's in Smash Brothers, which is not one of your games. And people have been clamouring for a Mega Man game for a long, long time, to the point where an Inafune left you because you guys were dicks. And he left. He was a bit pissed off with the way that you were dealing with IPs, from what I can gather, but generally the business relationship fell down. Now he's gone out and he's gone, right, well, I'm going to make my own Mega Man game, considering he invented Mega Man in the first place. And that is called Mighty No. 9. He put it on Kickstarter last week. Now, I initially was going to make a video as soon as I saw it going on there, because I thought, this is really exciting. And then I saw that it was going up really quickly, and I thought, do you know what, maybe I'll wait to celebrate it getting near its target, and that'll be a good video. And then I saw it just get more, and more, and more, and more. Now, they budgeted $900,000 US to make this game. As of recording this video, right now, it is on, as you can see, $1.9 million US. See that? 32,998 people have backed this game. How many days has it got to go? 20 fucking 2. This game has done so damn well. So where was it, Capcom, about the fans weren't interested? It wasn't enough community interest. When you open up the forums for devs and thousands of people went there and you said it wasn't enough, yeah, well, 30,000 people have backed this in a few days, and it's still got 2/3 of the time to go. It has made so much damn money in such a short space of time, and I am delighted. I'm not generally a big fan of Kickstarter, but I have to say, in the sign of this, and just been a kick in Capcom's teeth, is wonderful to see. A game that people genuinely want, a game inspired by Mega Man, created by Mega Man creators, the sound designers from Mega Man, the level designers are from Mega Man history. These people are all highly experienced ex-Capcom staff who all know their way around Mega Man, and they're making a Mega Man-esque game. It's basically Mega Man. You've got 8 bosses, and you've got the one robot, and he can change into other things and take on powers of the other robots when he's beaten them. Mighty number 1 through 8, and he's Mighty number 9. I think this is going to be good fun. It's definitely coming to Steam. It is definitely coming to Mac and Linux. and it's very close. If it gets 2.2 million, it's going to go on the 360 and the PS3. Unfortunately, this game's going to be out till 2015, which that's a bit of a kick in the teeth. That is a bit of a bad move because most people will be moved off the PS3 and the Xbox 360 by then. I'd say that's around the time they'll bring out a slim model and people will move over to the new design. Right about the point they take down the ports and remove some of the functionality just to piss everybody off. You know how they do. So, great news. I am delighted with this Kickstarter, and Capcom, swivel on it, you are fucking dickheads. Sony! What are you doing? Sony have just lost a court case because they didn't pay an intern. He sued them, he was a game tester, sued them, and it was for $4,600. Sony, come on, you can afford to pay your goddamn interns. That is a dickish thing to do. People who work as interns generally are highly qualified, they have very little experience, and they're desperate to be on the ladder, and they get kicked in the teeth regularly. People coming out of university now have it damn hard. And those guys have my sympathy, because I had to go through when the economy went down the toilet and things have just gotten worse for graduates getting jobs. Internships has become this thing that people just work in for damn near nothing. Just to get their foot on the ladder, because they're desperate to be in your industry. And what have you done? Soured to the point where they had to sue you for $4,600? That's pathetic. That's pathetic. That is a pathetic amount of money to have to sue someone over. The fact that you can't just pay them that. You bunch of dickheads. That is totally not on. Right, well this one's going to have to go to the unnamed, as far as I'm aware, developer at 343. The makers of Halo 4. And owners of the Halo series going forward when Bungie divested it off. And they went on to do Destiny. Now, there's been a big issue on Twitter recently where Hideo Kojima came out and said he wanted to make the character quiet, look more erotic for cosplayers. Now she's basically in fishnets, like pants and a bra. That's basically a costume. Anyway, people go in apeshit mostly because of his use of the word erotic. Now we have to bear in mind that he's Japanese. He then came back and went, actually sorry, I should have said sexy. I wanted to make her sexy to make her more appealing to cosplayers and model buyers. Now, anyone who has played Metal Gear Solid for any length of time knows, or anyone who has any concept of Japanese culture, they do have a much more pervy culture than we do in the West. That is pretty much factual. You know, played Metal Gear Solid 1, where you had to walk around and find Meryl by how her arse shook in her uniform. And they're complaining like there wasn't a secret, where if you spotted her and went into the ladies' toilets, within I think about a minute, you saw her in her underpants. And you're telling me that this is a big shock now? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't notice. I thought Sniper Wolf was just perfectly normally. I didn't think any of this. Olga? You just, yeah, as you do, wear a jumpsuit with your tits out, because that's what women wear. The Beauty and the Beast Corps, all of whom have been sexually abused. Come on! That is standard. That is standard. If you don't like that, then don't buy those games. But that is standard. If you don't like that kind of thing. Metal Gear Solid has little Easter eggs in there. Metal Gear Solid 2, you lock yourself into a locker with a picture of a woman in, and Snake starts masturbating. You drop porn for the guards to pick up, to suddenly be like, ah, the bastard, he said erotic. Anyway, the issue I have is with the developer from 343 who said it was disgusting, who slagged off Hideo Kojima for his behaviour. Now, the reason that this person is a dickhead is has anyone played Halo 4? And have you seen Cortana in Halo 4? Did you see how they turned this blurry, female-shaped character into a stripper? Did you see? Did you not see the massive breasts and the big round arse they gave her and featured that heavily? Not only that, have her basically having a breakdown. The whole story is about her being an irrational, crazy woman who's having a breakdown. And you think that's something that has been exactly the same for 25 years. is massively wrong, but the game you made recently with Western influence, that was a Western game. You can't really judge Japan by Western cultural standards because their culture is different. Yes, they do have a more pervy kind of culture. Yes, they do. Are they as progressive when it comes to women's rights in general, that kind of thing? Not really. That's how they roll. That is not your culture. Unless you're Japanese and want to speak out against it, by all means. But these were people who... None of these people were really going, hang on, 343, are you kidding? You made Cortana just as busty and as curvy as possible and made it look just like she's a naked blue woman. Was that required? Was that necessary? No, it fucking well wasn't. So shut your goddamn mouth before you start smearing people who have done way more for this industry than you ever fucking will. Microsoft, dear Christ, Microsoft, you have been coming thick and fast with the stupid ass things, haven't you? In order to try and beat the PlayStation 4, you cut down the amount of markets you're going to release in. So now countries that were going to get it, like the Nordics for example, are no longer going to get it. Thanks Microsoft, that's really dickish of you. I'm sure your fans in Norway, Finland and Sweden are excited, and Denmark, excited as hell about you removing the console so you could get to the market quicker in other countries. Also, well done for having the Kinect, the integral Kinect that is absolutely must be built into the Xbox. It is essential. It is the Xbox, you said. The Kinect is the Xbox One. Yeah, you've only got voice commands figured out for 8 languages. Really? You got it in Portuguese, but you're not releasing it in fucking Portugal. Although you are releasing it in Mexico and Brazil. Brazil, obviously Spanish. But you're not releasing it in... You're releasing it... I don't think you're actually releasing it in Spain, are you? Are you releasing it in Spain? I can't fucking remember. I don't care. But they are doing it in Spanish and Portuguese, but mostly for Mexico and Brazil. Not actually for Spain and Portugal. You dickholes. You absolute dickholes. If the Kinect is absolutely a must-have for the Xbox One, it is integral to the system. It's not fucking done, is it? So you can't be releasing this console if it's not fucking ready. Is it ready? Do you need to be the first to the market? What did you say? It's not about being the first, it's about being the best. Yeah? Well, fix your fucking systems then. Maybe integrate all your verbal commands that you advertised it to everybody. You know? Maybe you should have shored up more deals with more cable and satellite providers. You know? Laid the groundwork. Done your fucking job. Jesus Christ. On top of that, the Illumiroom they've been advertising, that they've been talking about, they're not going to make that. It costs too much money. Now, speaking of too much money, another reason that they are on my dickhead list this month is that they've claimed that the Xbox One is going to be profitable on launch. Now, I have a significant problem with that. The reason I do is because R&D is meant to be a massive investment. You have to speculate to accumulate. That is how business works, okay? What they're telling you is that the pre-orders alone, the price of the pre-orders alone and what they think they're going to sell, their first wave of stock is going to be profitable for the entire venture. Now, remember how the Wii U was sold at a loss? The PS3 was sold at a loss in order to make it competitive. And they recoup their money over time. Now, the Wii U hasn't recouped its money over time yet. But what the fuck? You're profitable on day one? Do you know what that tells me? Guys, those of you who are massive, massive fans of Microsoft, you need to ask yourself this question. If they're profitable on the sale of a few million units alone, okay, because that's all it's going to be, a few million units, maybe tens of millions, but if they can be profitable on that alone, how much money have they spent on the components? How high quality was the build? Tell me. Tell me, what have they done? Magicked this shit up? Now, I know they have more money than Sony have, and Sony being direct comparison, okay? But you cannot tell me that they have got magic parts, magically cheaper, by far than Sony can get hold of. Because frankly, their buying power for components is pretty much the same. I know Microsoft is a much bigger company than Sony, but let's face facts. They both have a shitload of money and they are buying a lot of the same components from a lot of the same companies. Did you hear Sony say they're going to be profitable with the pre-orders alone? No. Because I'd hope not. I'd hope not. When you develop a product, okay, a film comes out in the cinema, okay, if on day one it has made its money back, that is some kind of fucking miracle. And also suggests it was some kind of indie hit that's done incredibly well. But the hell? That is a warning sign. I'm going to call that. That is a warning sign of shoddy components. I'm concerned. So for that, for you bringing that up, makes you dickheads, Microsoft. Oh, dear God. Well, this one's going to have to go to the regular journalistic media for the story of an 8-year-old, the tragic story of an 8-year-old shooting a 96-year-old woman to death and then blaming it on Grand Theft Auto 4. Just to recap that story, this is an 8-year-old who owns a loaded pistol, who has a copy of Grand Theft Auto 4, lives in a trailer, and is being looked after by a 96-year-old woman who I don't actually believe is their grandmother. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's actually some random old woman who lives nearby. And you're going to play video games for this? You live in a fucking trailer. What are you doing buying your child Grand Theft Auto 4 and a gun? Okay? Money's a factor for you in alone, okay? So why give them a gun? Unless you jacked it. I mean, what the fuck? That is such bad parenting. You're going to leave your child with a 96-year-old woman. Now, I don't know a single 96-year-old woman who could handle a child with a loaded gun. That would take one hell of a good, strong, compos mentis and fit 96-year-old lady. And that poor woman is dead. She's been shot in the fucking head due to terrible fucking parenting. Abandoning a child, leaving a child with a loaded gun and an old lady looking after him. That's disgraceful. Those parents rightly deserve, they should be fucking prosecuted. Not the child. That child has been fucked up. Mum and Dad, you should be in goddamn prison. It should be manslaughter. You created, that is the equivalent. You might as well have taken your truck, parked it on a hill, left off the handbrake, let it roll into a load of kids, and then try and blame the car. You set it up through your ignorance and stupidity. You set this situation up to happen. And then the journalists come in, and what do? Blame the video game. Despite the fact that no matter how many hookers he was stomping in Grand Theft Auto 4, he didn't have a loaded fucking pistol. That didn't come as a special edition thing, did it, dipshits? No. He has a gun. And he shot somebody. That child was unbalanced, poorly parented and armed. And you are going to blame the video game. The sickness in you people. You want to try and find something to blame it on. I've just given you what to blame it on. Poor bringing up of children. This child clearly lives in poverty. And he has not been provided for, emotionally or financially. And that is why some of those children end up going mental. Because they're lacking in something. They're lacking in integrity and fibre that you should be putting in them from day one. So don't you dare come and blame the video games for this. Your child has a loaded gun. 8 years old. Media, get a sense of fucking perspective. Child left with gun and incredibly elderly woman. She's lived through 2 world wars and 2 economic bloody depressions. What the hell? What the hell? She was old before the civil rights laws were passed. Seriously? What in the hell? But no, you don't blame the parents. Don't blame the fact that the child has a gun, which again is blaming the parents. You don't blame the parents for giving them the video game. You don't blame the parents for leaving them with an old lady. No, you blame the video game. You should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. Right, well, this number 2 spot, and you're lucky you weren't number 1. Internet trolls. Now, I was watching a video the other day from Mundane Matt, and I have to say, he made a very interesting point. That the art of trolling is dead. Now, I used to call myself a troll. I used to go out there, and what I used to do is I used to wind up far-right extremists. Sort of racist, militant, neo-Nazi types. I used to like winding them up. So I would come on and I would lead them on jokingly and then make complete fools of them. Now that is trolling, okay? That's trolling. It's trolling when you convince somebody, say for example, that you agree with them by saying more and more ridiculous, outlandish shit in order to keep them agreeing with you and then to go, you fucking moron. Right, that's trolling, okay? Trolling is not harassing, trolling is not abusing, trolling is not threatening. And that is what we have now under the banner of trolling. So I want to point out that trolls, you are the reason that we don't get nice things. You fuck up everything. For your own sense of satisfaction that you can be a twat anonymously. The reason that people who want to criticise politely about videos, say by Anita Sarkeesian, what happens? They get lumbered in. Now, the argument aside that I personally believe she baited the trolls, but that's not the point. Baiting is not the same as doing. She, and I mentioned it in a previous Dickheads video, is guilty of baiting the trolls. They are far more guilty of being the fucking trolls. They went and they harassed and they treated... I did a video a few weeks ago about female gamers, about how they get treated badly. About how they get treated with this sexist bullshit when people discover they're women. And then I did the podcast with Jenny, who was the woman in question, and she was saying, genuinely, as soon as they hear my name, as soon as they see my name and hear my voice, 1 twat, 2, 3, whatever, will come and act like assholes to her. You people are toxic. The same people. Same kind of idiots who then send death threats to developers because you've changed the gun. Send death threats to the writer of Dragon Age 2. I don't like Dragon Age 2, but Jesus Christ. Whether that was the reason that she quit or not, you sent her fucking death threats. And yes, I'm lumbering all trolls together in this. You're all part and parcel of this. Every person who engages in fucking with people for fun, for no gain, no positive gain, you're not doing it for a good reason, you're not doing it to expose a fucking Nazi, no, what are you doing it for? You're doing it to hurt people, you're doing it to upset people, and do you know what, personally, I'm not upset by trolls, but I'm disappointed in general, and I'm angry, because myself and other people like me try and stand up for people like you. For your rights. Try and speak out about something that actually affects you. And what do? You fuck it up. You fuck it up. Seriously. Look what happened with Mass Effect 3. I don't want to bring it up again. But the way that was dealt with was done so well. People decided that they would send 2,000 cupcakes in 3 different colours to mock the developers. That is trolling. That's how you troll somebody. You make them laugh and you make them think. Now you make them feel stupid, but you do not make them feel threatened. You don't make them feel harassed. When every time you hear negative shit about gamers, it's stupid fucking trolls ruining it for everybody else. Do me a favour. Go find another fucking hobby. Go do something else. Seriously. Go find a minority sport that no one gives a shit about and just troll in that society. You just troll each other. Start your own sport up. I don't give a fuck. But stay out of my hobby. Stop shaming me and everybody else who actually gives a shit. Who actually has a sense of self-respect. You people are small. You people are weak. And you deserve the ridicule. And you deserve to be singled out. Knock it off. You are the cause of so many of our problems. I mentioned this one last month, and lo and behold, it has become #1. Now, I mentioned before that there was a recommendation made by the US government with regards to the banning of streaming music and making it a federal offence, and lo and behold, SOPA came back. Hello, SOPA. The law that impacts people who aren't American as well as Americans massively. Hello, the law that would make Justin Bieber a criminal. I mean, he should be illegal for a number of reasons, but for singing songs on the internet, are you fucking kidding me? On the same time, Let's Players. Now, I will be the first person to say I don't find PewDiePie interesting. I don't find him entertaining. But you know, I was having a discussion with Toadie the other day, and we were talking about it, and I said, you know what, I have to say, give PewDiePie his due. Without his success, horror would not be having the revival that it is. And it's having a big revival. Horror is the big thing right now, and I'm really, really glad that it is. Games like Penumbra and Amnesia, Dark Descent and stuff have gone, and then old horror games are being dragged up. It's good to see. It is good to see. Playing Outlast, that's a really good game. Looking forward to getting hold of the new Amnesia game. Looking forward to The Evil Within, even though I've worked out the plot twist, I think. But I'm really looking forward to the resurgence of horror, and I have to thank him for that. I'm thankful that you have made horror popular amongst kids who would not have been exposed to that otherwise. So I'm glad. And the fact that his job, what he does, is potentially going to be a federal crime is fucking stupid. Now, I mentioned before about people and signing bullshit petitions and about publicising the bad petitions. Now, this is somewhat moot, but the SOPA petition is still up. The Against SOPA petition was put up. It's reached its 100,000 signatures, but go to it, add more. You're an American, have a voice in your democracy. Because that is such utter, unbelievable shit. Copyright should always be a civil suit, as far as I'm concerned. It is a civil suit of minor financial misappropriation, of theft. It is. You can say it's minor theft. But it is about not paying for services. It's about not paying for something rather than stealing something. You steal a CD, you've stolen it. Copy it and sell copies, you're pirating it, it's a different thing. It's a different law. Okay? It's not theft. It is a different, legally distinct thing. And to say that if I sing Happy Birthday and it goes on the internet, I have to pay royalties because genuinely, believe it or not, someone owns the copyright to Happy Birthday. So if I were to do a video, sing Happy Birthday by the rules of SOPA, I'm a felon. I'm a felon, I'm not even a fucking American. Ridiculous. Because it does worry me how far they're going to reach this law outside of their borders. Considering they'll go, well, it's a US company somewhere hosted this, therefore you're liable. We know that you've got a nice little history of importing people into your country when they upset you over the internet. Like the poor guy with Asperger's syndrome who hacked into your the CIA database, made you look fucking stupid. But the fact that he's disabled, the fact that he's got quite a severe case of Asperger's, the fact that that wasn't even a factor and you deported him and went to stick him in Guantanamo Bay, you fucking assholes. The American people are having a disservice by their own goddamn government, and you should stand up to it. Now, I'm glad to see a lot of people have already. The petition has got enough signatures, but it's still live. Go add your signature to it. Just do it. Because this SOPA bullshit is toxic. To put this into perspective, I discussed this the other day, but back in the old days, back in the mists of time, okay, when recording media, when media that was owned by people became a thing, okay, before I was born, but you go back, but when you had records, okay, you couldn't really record your own records. Then cassettes came out. What could you do? You could record stuff from tape to tape. You could record stuff from the radio. You could hold a cassette up to a radio and record it. You get bad sound quality. You make your mixtapes. VHS, record stuff off telly. It is exactly the same as what's happening with digital copying. and with streaming. It is the same thing. It is essentially the same law, and what they're doing is, although it was always illegal, it was never enforced, because it was a stupid fucking law. So, it was never enforceable. So, now, you're making it enforceable. So what you're doing is giving us less rights now than we had 30 years ago. Rather than keeping things good and moving better, they're actually getting worse for people. Because you tell me one person who hasn't recorded something, I'll tell you what, technically, DVRs are illegal. Technically speaking. You record stuff off the telly, for the most part, that's... You're making a reproduction of it. Now, despite the fact they've got built-in machines, despite the fact that they sold blank cassettes and blank VHS, despite the fact that you can buy blank CDs... The whole thing is laughable. There are plenty of reasons, plenty of ways you can make copyright law better for the content owner and better for the consumer. This is a hammer ban and it's going to fuck up so many things. I've said this in my last video, but I always thought having a Democratic Party in charge in America was meant to be some kind of good thing for freedom and liberty. Apparently not. Fucking embarrassing. Makes the UK's stupid fucking opt-out of porn ban thing seem pathetic in comparison. Because we've got something over here where they're going to say, you want adult content on your computers? Right, well you have to contact your provider and say, I'd like porn please. I've got no problem with that. I'll phone up. Hello, yeah, I'd like adult content please, thank you very much. Boop. Not bothered. That's not a problem. That's not going to put me on a watch list. It's not going to make me a criminal. Okay, it's not perfect. It's probably a bit bloody stupid. Someone please think of the children. Well, maybe then people who have Wi-Fi should put their own blocks on. You know, like mobile providers already do. But that's by the by. Seriously, SOPA. US government. Right up to the dickhead list again. Sort your shit out and start being the land of the bloody free again. Because what is this shit? Seriously, from the country that you got independence from, hello, we're looking at you and looking at the freedom you've got, and it's looking pretty fucking pathetic. So, you and your little republic there really should maybe pull your finger out and fight for your own freedoms. You know? Just a thought. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you guys later.